What's up, Dog fans and South Florida representatives? I'm your folk, Dave Wave of the Big Fish Network, home for Miami Dolphin fans worldwide. And on this video, we're going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa. That's right, Tua Tagovailoa, who some of y'all have memes about where y'all call him Tua turn the ball over, which is hilarious. But we're going to get into, is he the right quarterback for this team going forward? Should the Dolphins invest mega dollars into his contract and make him the face of the franchise for the next 4 to 5 years, maybe even 10 years, maybe a decade? Should we go that far with it, or should we make this just another 1 year deal, another 2 year deal, with not a lot of guaranteed money? What should we do when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa? Because the regular season is over with. He finished it healthy. We lost the game to the Buffalo Bills when we had a chance to take over the division, get the number 2 seed, and make a statement in the league that we're the dominant force in the AFC East. We did not do that because of turnovers, because of miscues, because of Tua not rising up to the occasion at the moment that he could have, because he didn't have good chemistry with Chase Claypool on that route. Tyreek Hill dropping passes. We talked about all of that in the recap. I went over that. Y'all make sure to go check that out on the channel, on the Big Fish Network, in the YouTube Shorts section. I got that out right now, and I got that on Facebook, on social media. So y'all check that out. I give y'all a breakdown, just a short clip of why I think we lost that game. But like I said, we got a large enough sample size now. He passed the test of finishing, the regular season healthy. That was the knock on him. And they moved the goalpost and said, well, he has a noodle arm and he can't throw deep passes down the field. He shut that down. He proved that already, going deep to Hill, going deep to Waddle whenever he feels like it. And yeah, there's been times where he's forced the ball into traffic, where it was 2 defenders there, 2 and 3 defenders, and sometimes it got picked off, But I like the fact that I noticed that Mike McDaniel trusts him to be able to make those throws. He trusts him to be able to create deception within the offense. He's been able to do that. We've had the most explosive offense in the league, surpassing the greatest shown turf. Yeah, I know y'all want to say, yeah, but what about him, in clutch moments? Yeah, he has clutch moments under his belt as well, in college and in the pros. Just check the tape from last season when he scored 6 touchdowns, throwing for 6 touchdowns by beating the Ravens in a comeback game, and him coming back and helping us beat the Lions as well. So he got comebacks under his belt. So y'all can kill that noise. But he does have moments where he has folded under pressure. So that is also facts as well. 2 things can be true. Some fans think he's trash. Cam Newton thinks he's just a game manager. He had a list of quarterbacks that he thought were game managers on his show. Y'all check out Cam Newton's show on YouTube, and he had 2 in that list. He had Tua, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, and I forget who else he had in that list. And a lot of people gave him flack about that, on ESPN, on Undisputed. A lot of people said, how can Cam Newton say that when Cam Newton, he didn't jump on the ball, in the Super Bowl when he could have helped his team win based on what they said, and they want to knock Cam Newton for having his opinion. But after this video is over with, y'all gonna understand why Cam Newton puts Tua in that game manager role. I don't think he's a game manager at all. I'm gonna tell you what I think he is later on in this video, in a few minutes. But in my opinion, I don't think there's just 2 type of quarterbacks. A lot of people think you either the quarterback is an all-world game changer, or he's just a game manager. He's just a guy. He's a jag. I don't think that. I think there's actually 4 type of quarterback archetypes, and you can win with either one. It's all based on the preference of the coach, what's best for the skill players that you have, and what's best for the defense, and if you want to commit to that or not. It's just that simple. And I want to start by talking about the gunslingers. How do I define a gunslinger? To me, a gunslinger is a quarterback who has elite unicorn arm talent. Right now, when I look at that list of starting quarterbacks in the league, all the signal callers in the league, There's only two that I think that comes to mind. I will put Aaron Rodgers on that list as a bona fide gunslinger, and I will put Matthew Stafford on that list as well. Justin Herbert could be on this list, but the coaches don't never trust him to go down the field enough for him to really be a gunslinger. So really, Justin Herbert is more of a system quarterback right now in all the offenses that he's been in the league and even in Oregon. But I think his true nature as a quarterback is a gunslinger. You know, he just ain't been able to go down the field a lot. He's going down, he's thrown bombs now, but not a lot. Not as many as Tua. And that's because the coaches don't trust him to do that. They think he's going to blow the game where he's going to throw interceptions. So they give him safe, systematic plays that are safe. Wide receiver screens, running back screens, check downs. They don't trust Justin Herbert's eyes either. They don't think that he can fit balls in the tight windows. So they design plays where the receiver's going to be wide open enough for him to be able to use his rocket arm to get them the ball. And that's pretty much how I define Justin Herbert. But he's really a gunslinger. The pros about having a gunslinging quarterback is that they can win games without a dominant run game or a dominant defense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if the defense gives up 21 points in the first half or gives up 14 points in the first quarter, or y'all are down by 14 or 21 points in the third, a gunslinger can come back. He can come back and he can win the game just with his arm, just with his bionic right arm. Yeah, Tua, the only left-handed arm quarterback in the league. I'm a left-arm quarterback. You know, I'm not a quarterback, but I'm left-handed. Y'all get the point. Southpaw. I knock your ass out with this left hook. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like. You know, so I ain't gonna lie. Steve Young, Tua Tagovailoa, Tim Tebow, Michael Vick, those are my quarterbacks. So right now, Michael Penix is looking like the next quarterback that I'm gonna be rooting for. You know, and look, I love Tua. Tua's a great quarterback. But I think Michael Penix can run Mike McDaniel's offense just as well as Tua. That's not a knock on Tua. I'm just, you know, I gotta be balanced, y'all. I gotta keep it real. I gotta be balanced. Out of all the quarterbacks I've seen in college, you know, and I'm still scouting them, Michael Penix, I think, can run Mike McDaniel's offense, and he can do the same things that Tua can do. But we ain't gonna talk about that much on, you know, right now. I'm gonna just say that I think we should stick with Tua as our quarterback. I think he's an ascending quarterback to me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we can win games with him. And I think he can be a franchise quarterback. I think Michael Penix can as well. But back to the gunslingers. You know, another pro I would say for a gunslinger quarterback is if you need him to throw the ball 45, 50 times a game, he could do that and win the game. The cons to having a gunslinger quarterback is that they turn the ball over a lot. They throw a lot of interceptions. And, you know, they can abandon effective game plans and systems to run their own play, which sometimes be the reason why they threw interceptions. Another con is they don't manage the game well. You know, as a gunslinger, sometimes, like I said, they be so enamored with their arm that there's times in the game where they really need to dial it down. They need to manage the game. The offensive coordinator needs to switch to more of a game manager type of game plan, maybe like in the fourth quarter, you know, and start running the football and sticking to the run and using his gunslinger arm when needed, maybe off of play action. Another con is predictability. Because their arm is so good, sometimes offensive coordinators, like I said, they're going to abandon the run when it's working. And, you know, that'll slow down the game and prevent the offense from gaining leverage with time of possession. You know, the good thing about running teams, good running ball clubs, is they control the clock. You're not just going against them, you're also going against the clock, and that can work against you. And they can keep your explosive offense, your air raid offense, off the field. Another con with having an air raid gunslinger type quarterback is that they get choked in crunch time by throwing an interception on final drives. late in under 2 minutes. Think Justin Herbert, like I said, Drew Bledsoe, Phillip Rivers, Joe Flacco, Ben Roethlisberger, John Elway, Tony Romo. He was a gunslinger. Brett Favre was a gunslinger. Dan Marino was the best gunslinger out of all gunslingers, And you could win a Super Bowl with these quarterbacks. But like I said, you got to have an air raid, vertical stretch scheme with Don Coryell concepts. And these quarterbacks must pass for like 300 plus yards almost every single game. I think it's also better to have a power running back versus a scat back with these type of quarterbacks. And a shutdown defense. You can have a bend but don't break defense and still win with a gunslinger quarterback. But ideally, you want to have a shutdown defense. Next, you have system quarterbacks. In my opinion, that's exactly what Tua Tagovailoa is. He is a system quarterback. Now, that's not a knock because most of your Super Bowl winners are system quarterbacks. Not gunslingers. A lot of them didn't make the Super Bowl or they lost Super Bowls. Joe Flacco is a gunslinger that won a Super Bowl. Brett Favre is a gunslinger that won a Super Bowl. But Phillip Rivers didn't win one. Dan Marino didn't win one. So there are limitations to that. But with a system quarterback, he's going to have high IQ. He's going to have high IQ. He's going to know all the audibles, the motions, the contingency plans if things break down in the system of what to switch to if the defense adjusts. And if the system is dynamic and flexible, it could almost be unstoppable. It could almost be unstoppable. Think Peyton Manning. It's hard to stop. You know what I'm saying? It's almost unstoppable. Tom Brady's system, almost unstoppable. Joe Montana, he mastered the West Coast offense. Drew Brees, Dak Prescott, Kurt Warner, Troy Aikman, Warren Moon with that run and shoot. That's a timing offense. Jim Kelly, that's kind of timing, air raidish, but it's a system, Another pro is they're usually very accurate with the football, and they have great ball placement, which means they're careful. They don't throw a lot of interceptions, but that don't mean they can't throw interceptions. Just don't mean they don't throw a lot of interceptions. The cons about a system quarterback is sometimes the system is difficult to learn. So not every quarterback can fit into a West Coast system. Usually the taller quarterbacks, the 6'5", 6'4" quarterbacks, they're not that good in the West Coast scheme. Usually that's better for Tua size, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". You know what I'm saying? A 6'3" is like a big West Coast quarterback. But anything under that is fine. That'll work perfect. Kyler Murray would do great in a West Coast offense. He'll flourish. He would do great in McDaniel's scheme. Yes, he would. So I mean, it's designed for short quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks. And I think, that's also where Tua Tagovailoa and Steve Young comes in. And I'm going to tell you why. As great as Tua's stats is, as great as his stats is, as great as his accuracy is, he has the intangibles. He got the heart of a champion, I believe. Even though he has folded in big moments, I think he does have the heart of a champion. I think, if he wants to get if we want to give him a mega deal and be happy about it, let me not even say that. He's going to get a mega deal. If he wants to be elite as a system quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa is going to have to scramble. He's going to have to scramble, whether we like it or not. I know he got a concussion history. Probably McDaniel was not going to want him to scramble. Chris Greer's not going to want him to scramble. David Paloka, our strength and conditioning coach, is not going to want him to scramble. Frank Smith don't want him to scramble. But guess what? He's going to have to scramble. Why do I say that? Number one, because he's left-handed. Name a left-handed quarterback that didn't scramble. They all scrambled. Michael Vick scrambled. Mark Brunell scrambled. Steve Young scrambled. And that's the difference between Tua being an elite quarterback and him being just a really great system quarterback, which is what he is. Steve Young if the West Coast system fails, if it breaks down, Steve Young can improvise. He has some game changer type qualities about him that allow him to be able to extend plays even in the West Coast timing system. You could say Patrick Mahomes is the same way, and you could say the same thing about Elway. Even though I put Elway in the gunslinger category, he was in a West Coast system. It's just he can deviate from it, you know what I'm saying? And you got to be able to do that. And that's just the reality. Tua's going to have to scramble. I got a chance to watch the clip from former corner of the Patriots, Asante Samuel, that he put up on Twitter where he gives his assessment of Tua. And I disagree with him when he said that this would be Tua's best season. I think Tua's just scratching the surface of what he can be. But I do agree that Tua is going to need to work on speed. He's going to need to work on strength and flexibility in the offseason. He may need to bulk up, maybe get his arms more swole, get his chest more swole. And, that way he can take the physicality, and that'll help him be able to, go off script and improvise. And there's going to be there's going to be games where he's going to have to deviate from Mike McDaniel's scheme. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you what made me realize that last drive by Josh Allen. That last drive by Josh Allen where we had to stop him, but he needed to be able to get a first down to be able to drain the clock, and he was able to get the first down by himself. Tua ain't going to do that. I mean, I'm not saying he can't do it, but in this offense that McDaniel has him in, they don't want him to do that. But that's what he's going to have to do in some games. He's going to have to use his legs to win the game. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, he don't have the mobility that Michael Vick got. He don't have the speed. He's not finna bust that hole for like 40 yards on a run or 30 yards on a run. But he's gonna scramble for the first down, and he gonna get it. And just that right there is dangerous. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though he's not the best game changer, he's kind of a game changer. He's just not a good one. He gonna blow the game trying to change the game and use his Fitz magic. And that brings me to game changers. A game changer quarterback to me is exactly what Cam was trying to illustrate. He was trying to say, but he just ain't say it. He ain't say it like how I'm gonna say it. Basically, a game changer is a quarterback that can beat teams even if the system fails. So, all of these quarterbacks are going to be mobile quarterbacks, So the system is going to be built around their dual threat ability. And, they are the contingency plan. If your system fails, they can still get you yards. They can still score touchdowns. They can still affect the game. They can still affect how the defense calls the game. They can affect how you, the play caller, calls the game. And, they're going to be all-world quarterback. If the running back gets hurt, they can lead the team in rushing. You know what I'm saying? They're game changers. If the play breaks down, there's nobody down the field, they can, use their legs to buy time to scramble and find big plays down the field. So the receivers, they don't even have to be the best route runners. You know what I'm saying? They just got to be, good at finding holes in coverage. But like I said, if all else fails, they can move the ball and they can will teams to victory by themselves. Think Cam Newton, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, Vince Young, Donovan McNabb. Those guys were game changers. The pros to having a game changer is that, like I said, he could win despite the playbook. Another pro is that it's easy to build a deadly, unstoppable system centered around their dual threat ability. You just gotta you gotta commit to it. That's all it is. But then that brings me to the cons. You have to commit to it. So you gotta commit to the system, you gotta commit to him, which means every player that you draft on both sides of the ball has to fit him. And that could be a pro, that could be a con, Like my granddad used to say, cut the head and the ass and die. So if you stop him, you stop the whole offense. Another pro is that it's hard to find. Another con is that it's hard to find a backup that can replicate his offense if he gets hurt, and it's hard to find a replacement if the system failed. You have to, blow it all up, start all over. Another con is that they can be inaccurate with the football, which means that they won't be good in the system outside of their own. And, they struggle hitting guys in stride a lot of times. And then the last but not least, the last archetype is finally a game manager. Now, to me, a game manager is not what Tua is. Tua is not a game manager. That's incorrect. He's a system quarterback. To me, a game manager is a quarterback that's good at protecting the football, above average in some of the traits that you want in a quarterback. And, those above average traits, they can win you games. You know what I'm saying? If they usually have a high IQ. If they have a high IQ, that's even better. And you can have a dominant run game and a good defense, top 5 defense. You can win Super Bowls with these type of quarterbacks. They execute the plays that are called, and they can be deadly in play action. Think Jim McMahon, Baker Mayfield, Chad Pennington, those type of guys. Jay Fiedler, Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson. Those are some Super Bowl winners. Some of them are Super Bowl winners. The pros to having a game manager, though, is that he going to do exactly that. He's just going to manage the game, which means that even though he's going to manage the game, there's going to be times where he's going to have to actually be a game changer. There's going to be times where he's going to have to be one of the other 3. And if he can't do it, you're going to lose the game. If you don't have a unicorn bell cow running back, you're not going to be able to go far. You're going to be an 8-18 pretty much. You also can't have no bend but don't break type of defense. You got to have a top 5 defense with these type quarterbacks. And then also, once you find a gunslinger, you gonna move off of your, mediocre quarterback that you have just managing the game. So that's a wrap. That's how I define it. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Which one do y'all think that Tua is? I think he's a system quarterback, but he's a very good system quarterback, one of the best, and I think we should give him a mega deal and make him the franchise quarterback of this team. Y'all be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and and I want to just say also, shout out to all of y'all that also subscribe to the channel in the past, and that's been giving me a lot of backing in the past. I want to appreciate all the love and support. Y'all stay with me, stay tapped in. Until next time, signing off, TBFN.